As a Tai Chi teacher, I was diagnosed with disharmony, stage 4 cancer. And I had been reading throughout my life that you could use Qi to heal. So I asked my Tai Chi teacher at the time, how can I do that through my practice? That was proof to me. And all my life, I kind of was guided on this path, but I needed proof. So that was proof that this actually works and that we can make a change and we can be empowered by this practice. Well, my name is Debra Weisenburger Lipetz, and I am from Columbus, Ohio, in the United States, just about in the middle of the country. And I feel like my life has been before Qigong and after Qigong. And everything before seems less important than after I began my journey with Zhineng Qigong. So I'm going to start with that. And I actually was a Tai Chi teacher while I had what we call a regular job. I did Tai Chi, and always from the time I was a child, my parents inspired us to think beyond what we think is reality. So I believe that my whole life, I have been guided towards Zhineng Qigong. And during that process, I did other healing modalities and worked deeply in other practices and meditation and various healing modalities. And then as a Tai Chi teacher, I was diagnosed with disharmony, stage 4 cancer. And I had been reading throughout my life that you could use Qi to heal. So I asked my Tai Chi teacher at the time, how can I do that through my practice? And the answer was, keep practicing. In 30 years, you will understand. It will all make sense. And I'm thinking, I may not have 30 years. I would like to try to cultivate something now and start working on it now. So I started looking for a Tai Chi teacher who could help me do this. I didn't know anything about Qigong. And I ended up at a Tai Chi conference about 2 hours from my hometown. And I watched this gentleman as he worked with all these different masters in Tai Chi. He was not performing or competing. And when he was alone, I went up to him and said, would you take me on as a student? And he said, no, I no longer break blocks. I break dis-ease. And I said, but that's exactly what I'm looking for. And he said, no, I'm not taking any students at the time. Here, buy my book. And this person's name was Luke Chan. And his book was The 8 Secrets of the Tai Chi Circle. And I read his book and I loved it. It's just a little small book. And in the back, it had a list of all his Qigong workshops in the back of this book. And this was before computers were as efficient as they are now. There was no Zoom. So I called this number and it gave me a listing, and I started going to all the workshops I could attend within a 5 to 6 hour drive of my home. And after a long period of time, Luke said, you again? Okay, I'll take you on as a student. And the deal was that I would set up a workshop, and then I would invite students, and as a result, I would be able to learn. So I did that, and that started a relationship with my Qigong. Now, I mentioned earlier that I had stage 4 cancer. So very quickly, I learned through Luke sharing stories that you can use Qi to heal and how to do it. So I utilized that information and I worked within myself. And when I elected to have surgery, but I felt really great, no chemo or radiation. And when they sent the tissue to the lab, there was no cancer. So that was proof to me. And all my life, I kind of was guided on this path, but I needed proof. So that was proof that this actually works and that we can make a change and we can be empowered by this practice. And in 1996, Luke Chan took a group of students to the center in China. And even though I had already healed and had this wonderful shift internally, but by going through this process, I would say that being at the center in China was one of the most pivotal, transformational times in my life. All of the sharing that we heard of what we would call miracles, hearing that over and over and over again, and having many, many experiences myself, shifted everything even more deeply within. So it became my practice. I stopped all traditional jobs, and this practice in this form became what I live for. And as a result of those experiences, and I think being guided my whole life, I realized this is what I had been looking or searching for or seeking my whole life. Everything came together.
Thank you so much for sharing that story. That is amazing. And how the cancer just disappeared, and wow, it's so inspirational. I'm so happy that you found that. So is that what inspired you to become a Zhineng Qigong teacher?
That was part of it. And also the fact that everybody is really interested in the physical aspects of how we heal. I think more importantly, it's multidimensional. It's not just a singular practice about form. So it's more than even physical healing. It also heals emotionally and mentally. So all of those components together open us up inside. And we begin to make an inner connection internally. And that internal connection, we begin to see our true essence begin to open, or we become aware of it. And that is a very humbling, but yet very empowering practice when you have the realization of who you truly are. We're more than just form. We are energy and information all combined. And we, through our practice, have the ability to access this on all these various levels.
And what advice would you have for a beginner?
Just do it. Don't have any concerns about how you're going to do it. If you even are thinking about starting this practice, then find a teacher and do it. Be willing to transform, be willing to change, be open, and just see what transpires. All of these practices that Dr. Pong offers us are tools to help us to go deeper and deeper and deeper. My own experience is to use one practice and continue to cultivate that and cultivate it. And I have to say, I'm like everyone else. In the beginning, I had to learn level 1, level 2, level 3, thinking that that was the goal. But essentially, it's not. The goal is to continue to cultivate. You can go from the very lowest level to the very top level with one practice. The practices are tools other ways to mix and match to find what works for you.
Very true. And on that note, do you have a favorite exercise or something that you turn to and use often in your own practice?
It's interesting because that has changed over the years. And I think it's according to where you are in your present life. And right now, I am really cultivating, connecting the inner self with my form. So I would say this is not my favorite practice, but it is a practice that is allowing me the most growing space. So I'm being pushed a little bit internally. And that is Rofu, or circling the lower dantian. That's my personal practice for me right now. Over the past just few weeks, a huge shift has occurred through this practice. All my life, I worked on form. I would say half of my Qigong life. And the other half, I have worked internal. But I never really, it was, here's my form, here's my internal. And for the first time, after all these years of practicing, the experience has merged. And I now have a complete full knowing that just Rofu, just circling lower dantian, is completely, without a doubt, strengthening my external form. Where before I always thought I had to do more and more and more. So it's been an interesting process because we have the capacity to learn so much from each other and to recognize our shortcomings and be able to laugh at ourselves as a result and then move forward.
Is there any message you would like to share with your current and potential students?
I think if you are willing to transform and change, if you are at a place in your life where you want to change, transform, gain more knowledge, progress in any way, then this would be a wonderful practice. And I would like to borrow a sentence from Master Xi, because it had a profound shift within me. From the time we are born, our lower dantian has been waiting for respect. And I think that says it all.